This is a wonderful turnout, and I'm so glad to be part of the Sister City Connection. This is called The Birth of a Knee. It is Saturday in early October, and I am walking in Railroad Park for my rehabilitation. The path before me is bordered with purple switchgrass. I am in downtown Birmingham, and I can see white caps on open water. I feel my heels hit the trail, my arches stroke the ground, and my toes push off the earth. 2 months ago, I had a knee replacement. Now, the last thing I wanted was another knee. But after I tore my meniscus just exercising in the pool, I came to realize that my doctor was right. I wasn't going to get better without one. I was terribly sad. I am deeply attached to all my body parts, and I had failed. Nothing I tried had healed my knee. Just before surgery, my daughter asked, "Mom, what's going to happen to your old knee?" I had been wondering about the same thing. This knee had been with me my whole life, and I loved it. I didn't want to let it go. Then I had a vision. Old knees end up at the same place where our ancient family dog went, to the farm for retired knees. Suddenly I felt at peace about letting it go. Turned out letting go was the whole thing. After spending my whole life rushing around fixing things for my patients and my family, I had come upon the time for surrender. I left my rings and my necklaces and my jewelry on the dresser. Then later I put my clothes and shoes into a bag and offered it all up as they slipped the anesthesia in my mouth. Upon awakening, I was euphoric. I was alive and on an impressive cocktail of pain medicines. But I was still on the know-it-all Mojo Mamma's high, talking a blue string and singing "Tangled Up in Tubes" while the nurse untwisted the oxygen from my IVs. On day 2, though, I was brought down to size. They removed this nerve block from my thigh. Now, up to this point, I thought that I was tough, but now the hurt humbled me. I was made to walk and sit and be strapped in this machine that bent my knees constantly. I needed help doing everything. Rolling over, sitting up, and lifting my leg was impossible without assistance. Surrender, Mojo. Surrender and learn to do impossible things. Now, about that physical therapy. I was motivated, but the exercises were literally impossible. Squeezing your thigh muscle could not be done. No matter how hard you tried, your thigh refused. My muscle was pissed. It didn't matter if I had to do it 30 times a day, even if I couldn't do it at all. And then they sent me home. Now, home had held this pre-surgical promise of this kind of poetic staycation where I was going to work on new poems and write letters and blanket the world with my new book. I just hadn't figured. I hadn't figured on the power of the pain or on the amount of mind-numbing medicine that I would need to control it. I hadn't figured on the side effects of pain control either, like dry mouth and mouth ulcers and nausea and congestion and, my favorite, the comatose bowels. In truth, I had just assumed that I, Laura Secord, nurse practitioner, Mojo Mamma, could handle anything. I just can't seem to get a handle on my pain, I told my doctor on the phone one night after hours. Well, he told me, I just hacked off 2 of your bones with a hatchet and then hammered big pieces of metal into them. I guess it's going to hurt. I kind of thanked him because I was glad I didn't know about this before I agreed with the surgery. Now, he worked really hard to adjust my pain medicine, but nothing worked except them tablets of tears. One night, my leg was hurting terribly. It was too early for more pills, so I started crying. Holy cow, crying is the best pain reliever. So I cried for hours. I cried for my leg. I cried for other things like family tragedies, my patients, lost friendships, tornado victims, the failing U.S. economy. While I cried, there was no pain. Well, no pain for me, myself, but maybe for my husband who sleeps beside me in a double bed. He never had a word of complaint, but I really believe he was exhausted. You know, this whole process is a lot like labor. Instead of giving birth to a child, I was giving birth to a knee. Now, like labor, my body was making these major, seemingly impossible changes. In my case, the muscles and tendons and fascia and nerves were altering themselves to accept this foreign thing. After 8 days, I could squeeze my thigh muscle with my brain. By day 10, I could lift my leg into the bed all by myself. But I couldn't write. This was no poet's retreat. It was days of impossible tasks and therapeutic weeping. Then I was given a gift of watercolor paper and brilliantly colored pencils. Words wouldn't work, so I drew. I drew the farm for retired knees. That was the first thing I drew, where two knees that looked like chocolate eclairs sat by a lake under a tree. I drew this Thai goddess dancer woman, but her hair was blonde. I was doing that to remind myself that I had a goal of dancing by the new year. In my drawings, my knee got to go places. I was stuck at home. My upside-down knee waved at me from the garden. It floated on a lotus blossom. It got to visit the Taos Mesa. Like the hangman card in the tarot deck, I illustrated the ways in which I had turned myself upside down for the sake of transformation. It was a new form of poetry. Now, weeks passed, and my husband, the effing saint himself, started taking me to Railroad Park, where my walker made scrappy noises against the gravel pathways. Slogans from my physical therapy, they guided me. One of them, above all, don't fall. Now that really forced me to notice everything around me. And then the other one, this you must know, go slow. It reminded me that I had to breathe, learn patience, and take my time. And that simple direction, walk heel, toe. I found that if I really did that, feeling the earth with my feet, I could train both of my legs, the newborn left and the old reliable right, to walk a path correctly. Which leads me back to this urban park where I started out with my noisy walker and advanced to my red and blue floral cane. The moving water, the echinacea, salvia, black-eyed Susans, big skies, and rumble of trains guided my stride. Today I am completing my first full lap. It is a windy Saturday, and there are white caps on the ponds. In a pair of silver sneakers, I move through the fields of waving amethyst grass, and I sing, oh, them silver sneakers, oh, them silver sneakers I'm gonna wear with my titanium knee. I have given birth and am starting to raise up a whole new knee.